Guys, welcome to Java deep dive on generic. On generic, we can say that it is used for type safety, and we can say in generic we can pass the type to the classes, methods, and interfaces. When I say type means it is again classes and interfaces. So we can pass classes and interfaces as the parameter to the classes, interfaces, and methods. So to illustrate more, let's start with an example. Let's take a class called sample. So in sample, the way we can pass the parameter to the classes is like this. And let's create main method. Let's create that sample and obj equal to new sample. And let's create one method public void. So given the type, so type and obj. So now if you put here type means it is data type. Okay, so string, and if I put obj dot so obj so is string type. It is the compilation that Java is giving. So if you put string, we can say it will take string type. So here if I pass integer, so if I keep here, it is saying that it will take integer. Since we have given here t_obj, and whatever you can give, let's say create one simple class c1, and if I give c1, here I need to pass the object of c1. So since it is like this, so since it is so is t1, so make one more, let's say this is t1, so comma t1, and let's say obj2. Now here you can pass t1 and you can pass, let's say, string, and now it will give c1 comma string. So now you move the mouse, so it is expecting c1 and string type. Okay, add match argument, so we can give here a string type. Okay, so if you want to give, let's say I wanted to execute for, let's say, obj dot get class dot name get name, and if I execute it, it is c1, right? It is the c1. And similarly obj2, so it will be like string type. So in this way we can give like any number of t2, t3, blah 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 blah. We can give like this. Okay, so we understood how to pass the thing, right? So keep one simple one. So let's delete it. So now we will see um, key and value pair. Okay, order pair, how to see. So let's make it key and value, and key should be string and key should be, let's say, integer. And here always we need to send out the wrapper object, not primitive object. Okay, so put it string. So make a constructor to fill that uh, so key and value. So sample constructor, and here is key and v equal to value. So now k v and small. Let's get two references we have created. So now this dot k equal to key and this dot b equal to value, right? Okay, then we need to get the pair. So public the return type would be same, like it should be sample, right? So return type should be this one. Okay, so return type should be this one, and get pair. Okay, so now we will return up, we'll return it as this. Okay, we'll return this. So now we need to pass the constructor. So here we will give whatever we can give, string, object, or something like that. So we given first integer. So let's 1 to 3, and the name. So value would be John. Okay. So now if you want to get pair, obj dot get pair, and we need to again the sample type. Ob equal to, and here we get local variable, the same thing, right? So if you want to print object ob, now it would be like, okay, it is to string method, it is got executed, so it is not better to idea to like this. So return type would be, let's say, first we need to say get value, and now this dot v, right? Now if you get obj dot get value, it will be string, and let's print it out. So it given John. Okay. So now if I want to print its a key, so same thing I need to do here. Simple, right? So make it k, now make it key, so make it k. So now if I give system.out.println obj.get key. So now I got my value. So this is the power of generics. So format it. Okay, so Now you will see what is upper bound, what is lower bound. Okay, so we'll get into some generic concept. So, let's give here upper. So to understand upper bound and lower bound, we need to create some interfaces. Interface INF. So let's put one method, public void display, and make some class C1, and we need to implement INF. So same, we need to override that method. So this method from C1 class and display method. So similarly, we need to create one more class. Let's create one more class. So now if we give this is city and make it city right. Okay, done. So now if I give generics, right, so let's give T and let's create main method and so upper and make it all equal to new upper. So if I give here integer, it will from here, it will take it, right? It will take it. Whatever you can put here, let's say we can give here object also, you can give it, and we can give whatever number. There is no restriction, right? So okay, so we can give anything, so we don't get any compile time error. So any wrapper object from the primitive or any classes you can give. Here you can give C1 as well, C2 as well, or even you can give INF as well. So anything you can give, but I wanted to put some restriction. So I wanted to put any classes which implements INF only allowed those classes. So now we can put some restriction over there. So it should be extends from INF. So now if I give string, it should give me compile time error. So if I give number, it will give me compile time error. But if I give C1, then I will get not compile time error, because I mentioned here it should be extend from the INF. So once I get that, now I will able to, so let's public void show and make it T and A. So since we will restrict methods uh, which not implemented INF, so implicitly we're saying that it should be implement INF. So when it is implementing the interface of INF, then by default we presume that it must implement display method. So definitely we should get display method, right? Correct. So we got the display method, and now we'll get object dot. So if you give object.show, we'll pass c1 object. Now if you are run it, okay, c1 is giving, okay, so you c1 is already defined, means here we have defined it. So now if I run it, it is giving this method from c1 and this is displayed. So again if I here give c2, then again it is I need to pass c2 object. So now it is giving this method from c2 and it is finished. So in this way you can put some filtering, or we can say we can restrict some thing on the generics. So next we will learn about how to put generics on the methods. Okay, how to send the parameter of type to the methods. Let's create one. So let's make it method, right? Okay, now we will get, okay. So in method the generic types would be, let's say here generic type is not required, so we need to pass the generic type to the method. Okay, so now public, let's say the method will be any, let's say u, it should be extends, let's say u, and return type is public. So method, so here we mention the variable is ob object. So now we will print. So if you invoke method create object, invoke method. So if I give object dot show, right, so it is nothing but object type. So hello, it is giving hello. So it is just like it is object, it is passing send object and printing object. So again here we want to put some filtering criteria. So let's put some filter criteria. It should be extends INF. Okay, so now we are giving here error. Okay, so now we are giving here error. So since it should be extended, it must contain display method, right? Display. So display itself is the content statement. So now we will give ob.display. Okay. So now in show we cannot give anything, right? So it is restricted to classes which implements INI. So now if I can say that I need to create object of c1, so if I type it, so this method is calling from c1 class and display, right? If I want to give c2, it will take only this thing. So here I want to emphasize that extend means here not only it should implement it should work for both interface and the classes. So make sure that it should, yeah, it will work as for interface. If the classes is extended from INF classes, then also it will work. Okay. So if you want to take one example, let's class x1. So here public by display, and it should extend class x2, should extend x1, and sorry, in classes we need to keep define, right? This is x1 display method, and here public void display. This is x2 display method. So now if I change it to, it should extend x1, then I can only pass here x2, right? So let's execute it. So this x2 method is uh, executed, right? So if I give here x1 also, it will work. Like same also it will work, right? So in this way we can give to we can pass the type to the methods. So now let's see how can we use a generic in terms of collection framework. So make it collection. So put main method, and here will be list. So put some string 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 li, make it new array list. Now let's import the packages. Li.add, we can add string hello. Okay, so now if what is the problem if you we can give anything, because by default here you can give anything, like whether it may be number, whether it may be whatever the things, because according to that if you go to the list interface, so it is extended from, okay, so here it should be extended from the collection, right? Okay, so here it is a generic type it is taking, and yeah, so everywhere the generic is used. So here it is taking e, and if you search add, so in the add also it is e, right? So it should same type. So now in collection we can put some let's create some method, public void show, and here you can keep list li, and yeah, so we can make uh, object, because by default it would be object, it will not be, so like print it. So now it can print I. So we don't do anything, let's don't do anything. What will be the problem, you can see clearly. So it can add anything. So now li.add, hello, there is no restriction while adding, right? So add here we can add 2 3. So if I execute so so if I send list, so if I execute it, it is giving show and hello. If you want to here typecast, if I want to restrict all should be integer, then it would be give me problem, typecast problem, right? Here is the string cannot be cast to string.line.integer. So for that I can have the restriction from the beginning itself. So if I give only integer, so it will give me compile time error because I given it should only pass integer. So now it would be problem, right? So same thing we can give here as well. So we can pass anything, whatever maybe. So if I want to put some restriction over here, right? So if I want to put some restriction, while it should be whatever the it pass, let's put one, it should be extend from, it should INF, then now if I use let's say uh, call obj equal to the call obj. So now if I use obj dot show, if I give this, it will give me error because it expects uh, that list generic should be extended from, generic type should be extended from INF, right? So if I give here let's say C1, and now I can, since it is INF, it is extended, so you can say for, you can say INF, or you can say INF a li. So now a dot display can execute, right? So now let me create some object, right? li dot add new C1 because we know that it is extended from INF. Okay, so if I execute it, it is showing me that C1 display method is executed. Now if I can add C2 as well because it also extends from INF. Sorry, what is the problem? Change to all. So now we can add a C1, and in the upper bound we have implemented in C2 as well. So it should be add C2 li dot add. Okay, so here we have defined that it should be C1, right? So if you want to like extends from INF, okay, so we can only C1, we can print only. So if you want to C2, then simple we can change your C2, and now we can change to C2 because we are giving type safety. So type safety, and we didn't change anything in the show method. So we just at the runtime we have changed. Okay, in the main program, whatever is there, it is for runtime. So let's one more. This is called upper bound because whatever method present in the INF, and if it is extended, then that means whatever method in INF plus its own implementation. So it becomes more. So it is called upper bound, or else we can say some other way. So INF is the topmost from which we are extended, right? So it is upper bound. If you see lower bound, so let's create one more method. So void get, or let's say hello method. Here will be same thing will pass, and so invalid type variable. Okay, so let's give some other maybe function, right? So now, okay, I got it. So it should be outside the function. Okay. So now we can see that in reverse way we can see that let's create another list generic types, and list let's put it string li2 are a list. So instead of giving extends, we can give super, and when you super means all the parents should be eligible. So if I give here x1 is x2 is extended from the x1, so now I can give x2 super of, sorry, x2 is the extent of x1, so x1 is super of x2, right? So x2 is the extent from x1, x2 is super from uh, x1 is super from x2, and x2 is extended from x1. So x1 super x2, right? So this is the concept. So x1 is super from x2, right? So now if I can give only uh, if I want to execute li add, uh, there is no problem. If I give li2 dot um, so new one, so it is not taking a li2 because it is typecast problem. So because it is compile time a problem. Okay, so now if I give here x1, because x1 is super of so, x2 is the x1 is x1 super of x2, sorry, x2 super is x1, so x1 super of x2, okay.
x2 is extended from x1. Okay, so now if I can give x1, because all the parents, right, x1, then I can name x1. So now it is not giving compile command. So if you now execute it, so this method from C2 and the function, okay, we didn't print again. Okay. So li dot get index 0 get dot dot. Here we will not get any method because it is not the way where we can get value. So for that in x1 we have display method, though we are unable to get, so we need to typecast it to x1, and then now we need to put in that variable x1 equal to. So now in OB we can display it. So this is x1 display method. So it is properly typecasted, right? It is not class typecasting problem we are getting. So it is proper. So end of session, I can say that we can get extend we are using, or we can say upper bound we are using to get the value, and lower bound we are using to set the value. So in super it is very rarely used, but most of the time only extend is it is widely used. And if you have any doubt, please put in the comment your question and subscribe the channel. So bye bye.